It is wonderful to have you, though, Rob, especially with La Liga coming to ESPN. There's so much to talk about, and we must get started by talking about Lionel Messi. Now, we're talking about him, it seems, every day at the moment because of this situation with his contract. The latest is that it could be no Lionel Messi playing for Barcelona until January if they can't shift that wage bill that they need to do to make room to register him. This is a situation we could be looking at. Rob, in all your years covering La Liga, can you believe it's come to this?
It's quite unbelievable, isn't it? When you think a year ago it was a will he, won't he, what was going to happen there? Messi seemed to be throwing a strop, and then they kissed and they made up, and then it was kind of glossed over when it came to the winter transfer market. It didn't go anywhere. Nobody could afford him because what was happening with the pandemic. And then he quietly signs a new contract after coming back from holiday in the summer. And then all of a sudden, a little bit like a Sunday league team or an amateur team, they can't get him registered. And you will know as well that it has happened in the past when it was Pedro Leon, wasn't it? It was probably about a decade and a half ago when he signed it. And he wasn't allowed to play until the new year. So a precedent has been set, but there's a fair difference between Pedro Leon, who's a decent player, played for Real Madrid as well, and the great Lionel Messi, who we all want to see out there centre stage.
Yeah, big difference between the two, with all respect to Pedro Leon. That was back at Getafe then. Let's talk a little bit more about this, though. It's, 200 million they're looking to shift, and they're just having some stumbling blocks in doing that because there are some players that they've managed to move on at the moment, but it's the big players, the ones that can bring in that big fee, that they're struggling to shift, Rob.
Yeah, I liken it to being in the supermarket when you've done your weekly shop and you've got there to the checkout and you've maxed out on your credit card and you're trying to put things back. Pjanic there, done nothing for Barcelona. Griezmann is the big one. He'll be the one that other clubs will be interested in. I thought he had a good Euros. Everybody's been linked with him, from Manchester City to Paris Saint-Germain to Atletico Madrid. Braithwaite as well, he'd be an easy one to move on, but he's not going to make a great deal of difference when it comes to the wage bill, which is what they're trying to lighten at the moment. Philippe Coutinho has never been a hit at Barcelona. He did well when he went to Bayern Munich for a while, and again, he's on massive wages, and they're trying to come to a deal with Samuel Umtiti where they sign him off and they know that he will have a suitor. He's only 27 years of age. Those are the transfer costs, but of course the problem they have is they've got to get the wage bill down to around 160 million euros at the moment, and half of that is Lionel Messi. They've got the other 24 players to fit into the squad on the other half of the wage bill. Years ago, it was the manager, it was the coach who was the key man at the club. These days, it's the economist. It is the club's accountant who rules the roost. And come that weekend of the 14th and 15th of August, might well be picking the Barcelona team after he's done his algorithms and worked out all of the accounts as to who can play. Because
that's the situation that's interesting, Shaka. They've got until the end of the transfer window at the end of August, but obviously they want to get this resolved by kick-off. When you're looking at that 13th of August, they play on the 15th of August. How do you think this is going to impact their season with all this uncertainty going into it?
I really don't know. I don't know how Barcelona come to terms with it. I don't know how they balance their books. It will take incredible powers of convincing. If you look at it and you see a lot of Barcelona's talents that they have and maybe looking to shift some of the more expensive ones. Ousmane Dembele, he's out of contract next year. Why does he move now when he can move? Resisted a transfer last summer. Why does he move now when he can go on a free in 12 months' time? You've got Samuel Umtiti, who's got another 2 years left on his contract. Young enough, but has had an injury-plagued season. You've got Miralem Pjanic with 3 years left on his deal. Who takes on Miralem Pjanic now with 3 years left? For Barcelona to move those players, they're going to take on a fair chunk of their salaries, as you would think. The one big one that they're working tirelessly in trying to move that frees up a lot of space is Antoine Griezmann, which everybody's been speaking about. But if you're Antoine Griezmann, and it's dependent on your moving that Barcelona registers Lionel Messi, you control an incredible amount of power there. And now all of a sudden, never mind what you're on now, what you're earning now, you can manage the situation to your benefit as you please. You can basically hold Barcelona to ransom. And how does a club like Barcelona, a club as big as they are, with their presence in world football, find themselves in this position? It is simply beyond me. I don't know how they got themselves in it. I don't know how they get themselves out of it.
Jan, it's a crazy situation, isn't it? And then it comes to the pay cuts as well. Players like Busquets and Alba and Sergio Roberto. Reports are that they're trying to arrange pay cuts with players like this, and they can't come to an agreement there. And there is a thinking that maybe for these players, they think, well, we didn't get the club into this situation. They're the ones who haven't handled their finances properly. So why are we getting punished, or why are we suffering?
Well, it's breaking news, isn't it? The financial rules also count in Spain. And I can't believe that the English club went into this Super League idea of the Spanish club, because that was an arrangement to save these clubs. Barcelona, Real Madrid, desperate for money, desperate way to get the finance for their big players. And then the English club say, OK, we'll make a part of it. Well, this is the problem when you have elected presidents. It's quite interesting when we discuss ownerships in clubs, because like in Germany, you have 50+1. So somehow the members secure it. And then you have, like for Bayern Munich, you have big companies who will have 25% of the shares and all that. In England, you have the owners, and they could be bad owners. And we have a lot of examples of that as well. But I think that when you see in Spain, and we're talking about, yes, this is democracy, Laporta coming back, they're doing their election campaign and so on, but they don't care, because they know in 2 years' time, another idiot will come and he will spend all their money, because it's all about doing this success. And now, coming to 2021, you can't find yourself in a bizarre situation that, first of all, you say, Lionel Messi is in a 5-year deal, and we need money for him. And as you were saying, Kay, why should the other players care? They got great contracts. Pjanic, 3 years left. Will he go to a Norwegian club for 3 years just to play football? Of course he won't. So this is not the sake of the football players. This is a very bad run clubs. And you may say that, well, Real Madrid have won the Champions League and everything, but there is some titles going on in the finances too. And there they are failing big time, and they are relegated now in the financial Champions League, and that's why they were so desperate for the Super League. And thank God that the English fans did an opposition against that, and we're not there yet, because then they will keep on doing the same thing. And now financial rules count in La Liga as well. Surprise!
Rob, how do you think this situation is going to play out at Barcelona?
I don't think anybody knows. I really don't. I think it's almost like they're having some kind of fire sale, aren't they? That, you know, come and get them, take whoever you want. The only one they can't touch is Lionel Messi. Dembele, as the guys were saying, there would be a player that would maybe tempt a few clubs. You might get a bargain with Dembele. He's a decent player, but conveniently, he's going to be injured until October. Griezmann is the key to all of this, so they can get somebody to take his wages off the bill and then get some of the money back into the club. Coutinho doesn't seem to have many suitors out there either. What they're hoping is the likes of Neto, the backup goalkeeper, Longley, the centre-half, who apparently has been interesting, Everton, and Braithwaite, who may bring in 10 to 15 million euros in the current market, but they'll go. But of course, every club, every chairman, every owner out there knows that Barcelona are trying to offload players. So they're going to cut a deal where they don't have to pay all of the wages. So Barcelona, who for many years were regarded as the model club in world football, they brought their young players through. They only signed in positions maybe where they hadn't bred somebody over the last decade or so. They would have a superstar like Lionel Messi who came through the system, and now they are a complete mess. There's no pathway for the young players. There's probably 4 or 5 players in the team who are maybe past their sell-by date, and then their best players are all for sale. It is, as Jan was saying there, an absolute mess that they've got themselves into. The big problem, of course, has been the pandemic. You know what it's like when you go to Barcelona, you go to the Nou Camp. This time of year, they're getting 10,000 people through the museum gates, looking at the museum. They're very clever. It ends in the club shop. I say shop, it's a mega store. It's like a mall in itself. And everybody leaves spending $100 at least in the shop there as well. Last time I was there, I bought my mum a bowl for her dog, which, by the way, is called Messi. And they've missed out on that for the last year. No matter who you support, you've got to buy something on the day. And they've lost that commerciality.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.